we can now have questions on entrepreneurship policy in Kenya, which was done by Margaret Waruguru from JKUAT. She is here with us, and she can answer any question in regard to that, and then we finish. I see a question there that is so hot. He's been asking questions since yesterday because he wants to know.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you. I have a question to entrepreneurship policy in Kenya, a reality or a myth, to Madam Margaret Waruguru. Otherwise, I'm called Bwanogola. Just to go back to our MC who tells us that she smiles and makes that, and the man was not able to bring the result by 6. Well, I would wish to advise all of us that we go back to Charles Darwin's theory, the evolution of man, so that Charles Darwin can tell us whether Australopithecus, Ramapithecus, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, and sapien, who was a man, who was a woman here, because what he left us with is that the brain capacity of all these things was equivalent. So where you are saying women are better than men, let's find out from our research, because we are going to make a general conclusion that will not serve the society. Let me go straight away to entrepreneurship policy in Kenya. Allow me to ask that should there be an equation regarding entrepreneurship policy in Kenya, the way I put it? I don't know whether you have it or whether it's supposed to be there. Should we have EP plus EC is equal to E? That is, entrepreneurship policy plus entrepreneurship culture is equals to entrepreneurship. Why? We have termite, a very serious entrepreneur, and seriously entrepreneuring, the termites. Termite does a lot in terms of entrepreneurship. They can construct a very big anthill. I don't know whether they have a policy or they only have the culture. Next, the next question is, should we have, instead of EP plus EC, should it now be EC plus EP? Should it move from EP plus EC to EC plus EP? Which one comes first? I hope you are noting where I'm headed with you. Therefore, which is or which should be the mother to the other? Should EP be the mother to EC or CEC be the mother to EP? Because I'm referring to the termites and the Dukawalas who came to the east coast of Africa. That was 1844 to 1848. If we can trace with Bartholomew Dias and Vasco da Gama. They went to no school, there was no policy, but they brought what we call entrepreneurship to the east coast of Africa. And that is why today we have the yams, the arrowroots, and the potatoes. Is that okay? Next, in case EP becomes a myth, what will be the observation in the line to entrepreneurship? And in case it is EC in Kenya becoming a reality, what will be the observation in the entrepreneurship? Friends.
That was directed to Margaret, isn't it? Yeah, thank you. Briefly.
Wow. we have a lot of equations, the EC and the EP. That is very innovative, isn't it? They're coming up with the equation. Now, I will simply say one thing, that the entrepreneurship is a relatively new domain in comparison to economics. If you are to look at, in fact, entrepreneurship is said to have evolved from economics, because the economists would tell us of an invisible hand that controls the market forces. But Schumpeter came in and told us that that invisible hand belongs to the entrepreneur, and he's the one who controls the market forces. Now, what am I trying to tell us? There is also the notion of entrepreneurs are born and others are made, okay? So where he's bringing us to the point of the termites, I would say those are born entrepreneurs. But does that mean that entrepreneurs cannot be made? They can be made. And in that case, where they are born, the culture comes first. But where they have to be made, then the policy should come first. Okay? Yes, and I believe that that has sufficiently answered the question. Thank you.
Kwa Kiswahili tunasema makofi kwake. Thank you so much. Right now, I would just like to take two experiences for the interest of time because our VC must leave, okay? All right? We said give honor to whom honor is due. So there are some things that change in protocol when some people appear, all right? So right now, we would just like to get two experiences of what the conference has done to you. Just two. What have you experienced? What have you learned? What impact has it done to you? What eye-opener have you received? For me, I would talk for 6 days.
Thank you once more. Again, in the interest of those who are not here when I was introducing myself, I'm Simon Chege. Let me start by appreciating the organizers of this event because this is our first international conference. And I was talking to some colleagues of mine, and they were saying that they didn't have any other conference experience. So this has been an eye-opener for many of us. And from what we've learned, or from what I've learned personally, is ideas come when you put people together. And as we advance our theme, we need to understand the role of knowledge in innovation and creativity. And my approach to life situations and events, I want to say from now a little bit because of the experience I received from this event. And we look forward for other similar events that will open our eyes to see the world in a different way and to make humanity a better component of the earth that we live in. And thank you very much.
For gender sensitivity, any lady? Any lady who can share with us your experience? The ladies have said no. Another gentleman? Oh, there's a lady there.
I came a bit late, but there's something that I've learned from this conference. It is that when she was presenting on entrepreneurship, in Kenya, we need to create that culture about entrepreneurship. And then after creating the culture, now we can make policies on entrepreneurship and influence the curriculum. Because we have so many gaps in the current curriculum such that we train people on irrelevant courses that are not in the current realm of the millennials, the generation alpha. Because when you look at social media, we should bring courses that are related to social media and the way they'll utilize them to get employment. For instance, digitization, content management and writing, digital marketing, augmented reality, apps in marketing, like that. But it has been a very good experience and we are grateful for the exposure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like us to put our hands together and welcome Dr. Rukia for brief remarks, who is going to welcome the DVC. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma, and good afternoon. Sorry for keeping you late, but we intended to finish this so that we save the afternoon for some other business. So I must say that it has been a good time we have had for the last 2 days. Experience sharing, I think we would have had more time, we would have had so much experiences, but because of the interest of the time, we will not waste much of the time on that. But I must say personally that it has been a good experience for me. And we had a diversity across different disciplines, business, education, and IT, which touched on our theme that was well represented. And as we had our objectives at the beginning of this particular conference, I must say that I can comfortably say that most of them or all of them has been achieved. Because initially we thought of exploring research findings, which we have had, looking at different presentations we have had since yesterday. We also were thinking of academic discourse and exchange of ideas. Great ideas have been exchanged and much learning has happened. And then we had also to provide opportunity for these scholars, researchers to network. I'm hoping you have networked, because we had Emma also who was keeping on encouraging us to talk to our neighbors, to move away from the ones who are not smiling. And I hope that networking has worked well, because I've not seen anybody exchange partners. Then we had also the opportunity for the industry players, like Dr. Shem, who was here to share his experiences. And we had also one of our exhibitors, ACCA, who was also here this morning to share with us what they have as their product and services. And I think overall, all the objective has been achieved. And just to a recap of what I think was useful for us for this 2 days is that there are takeaways for both students and lecturers and different researchers and maybe persons who are just participants. For students, I must say that you need to position yourself within this particular gap of innovations we are talking about. We are seeing, let us look at learning differently. As much as the curriculum is much of knowledge-based, then you must be inquisitive enough for you to also help the lecturers to show you the practical way of doing things. Sometimes you are limited by the nature of the content that is provided, but that does not stop the students from being inquisitive, from trying things out, whether you are in business, whether you are in IT, whether you are entrepreneurship. Let's not assume that businesses or ideas are just for entrepreneurs. Can you look for opportunities within your particular scope of discipline and try to come up with innovations while you are still a student? So that is a challenge to a student, because our students most of the time tend up to just be passive learners. So let's not be passive learners, but let's develop the attitude of active learners. Then that way you will achieve and realize much goals and also become young innovators in place. And for the lecturers, my colleagues, I think we need to pick something away from the presentation of Professor Alubai yesterday, that you need to turn or flip the class and let it be a learner-centered, not teacher-centered. Because they also have their say, in my view. Fine, we can blame the structure of our curriculum, but we can be innovative in our own ways. It doesn't need to start with overhauling the curriculum. It starts with you as an individual. Can we try to see what we can do differently, picking away from what has already been discussed here and different ideas that has been presented by researchers here? And then finally, maybe a challenge to our institutions. Let's also try to come up with good policies for research, try to create environment for these innovations to happen, so that then we are not also trying to blame the students as passive, the teachers as not innovation, but does the institution have policies? Does it create opportunities? Does it maybe have the equipment for these people to experiment and explore and gain those practical knowledge that we seek to achieve? And overall, innovation is key in any discipline, in any sector, and also for individuals. If we are already moving and trying to live innovation or trying to utilize IT in all our life, I think it is important to think differently and come up with better innovations together as a team, so that we can change the lives of the 21st century employers. And finally, because of my own thing and my current research, I would say we need to move as institutions of education from trying to be just excluding ourselves from the sector, but can we closely work with the sector so that then we produce graduates that are sector driven, the demand, because we have quite a gap between what the employer needs and what the institutions provide. And therefore, as institution leaders, we must ask ourselves, how do we realign our curriculum so that then these students do not hang out there without jobs and be able to be actually absorbed immediately that we relieve. And this can only happen when we engage, we involve the different stakeholders when we are preparing our curriculum. Thank you, and I hope you have enjoyed yourself.
Thank you, Daktari. For me, it's been an exciting 2 days. And as we were talking, I was wondering about the various stakeholders that we will need to engage, especially at policy level. I was thinking about Ministry of Education. That is why we were talking about the curriculum. I was thinking about the Commission for University Education because they also moderate the kind of curriculum we release to our university students. I was thinking about bodies like KIRDI and how we can patent our innovations. I was thinking about bodies like the Ministry of ICT, like today we were talking about the Internet of Things, and I was wondering whether there's a disconnect between what you're talking about here and what is outside there. I was thinking about the Institute of Human Resource Management. We are talking about generation gap, and whether we need to review the working age, and whether we need to increase our age of retirement, as Dr. Simiyu said. We are pushing our age of retirement, and we are not thinking about the younger generation. I was thinking about the county strategic plans, which we were told yesterday, we need to really look at and see how do we come in, even with our findings, how can we be able to influence policy at the county and the sub-county levels. I was thinking about the review of our innovation and our entrepreneurship curriculums. Do they have a disconnect? Are they too theoretical? I was thinking about our examinations. When we say 70% is a theoretical paper that you sit for 2 hours, does that encourage or discourage innovation? And finally, I was thinking about Zetech and the entrepreneurial university and the other universities that were represented here. And I was looking at the power of networking that we have that we could actually use as we build entrepreneurial universities. Yesterday we had speakers. If you noted very clearly, they have traveled around the world. They have been to the US, they have been to Europe. Today I met Professor Waweru, who was my lecturer at some point, and he was talking about Japan. And I know our VC also talks about Japan. The power of networking. You do not have to travel yourself, but there are people who have traveled here who can engage us and help us to actually commercialize our findings. So for me, it was very reflective. And I do hope that as we sit down with our rapporteurs to look at the way forward, we shall be able to see how we are going to approach the various policy-making bodies and indeed change the world from the seat of Zetech University. So at this juncture, I want to invite our VC, Professor Jenga Munene, to come and give the closing remarks. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm happy that you are still here. Many conferences end up with the organizers talking to themselves. And I'm happy that you have been here. We do sincerely appreciate. I will not repeat what Rukia has said. She has done a very nice summary on what or came out from the conference. I have heard what Alice has said in terms of what the expectations are. Mine are exactly like that. I would like only want to make one observation, that there is no need of learning what you cannot apply. If you learn and you cannot apply, Buisa talked about an innovation that does not become money is not an innovation. And I would like to encourage, especially the students, look at their lives as part of innovating life, become innovators of life. And the Harvard School of Business one time did an experiment. And what they did, they told students that we are going to award you marks but this is the assignment. The assignment is, Alice, here, you're going to do one piece. So a group is given a very simple assignment. You do only one good masterpiece. But for you, do as many as you can. Maybe you can come up with anything, and we don't care what you do. This is a Harvard Business School. What turned out to be interesting is that all the masterpieces were done by them. This one, they came out with nothing. Because they spent most of their time trying to describe the measurements. A masterpiece is supposed to be how many centimeters, how many inches, how many. They actually ended up, the masterpiece came from the people who did very many. They would create, find it is not working, throw it away. Create, find it is not working, throw away. So from the output, they realized that there is nothing as important as trying different things. And I think that's what innovation is about. Trying as many things as possible. That is how Edison ended up with so many discoveries. So my view is that for us to be entrepreneurial, we must try many different things, be able to move from one challenge to the other. You try to see whether this desk is better the way it is or facing the other way, and then you can come up with good outputs. For the students, there is nothing as beautiful as being young. Being young is a beauty. Today I was scraping the roof here to find why it's flooding. And I found I'm getting a little challenged. And I used to jump those roofs very easily some 10 years ago. Then I realized, having become a grandfather, maybe also that is getting into my bones. And therefore, I'm not as flexible as I was a few years ago. So when you're young, try as many things as you can. And I can tell you, you won't regret when you get to my age. Some of us tried many things when we are young, and therefore, we are relatively relaxed. We are not having to learn about everything. For the people who presented, I want to say this. There's nothing as bad as organizing a conference like this, and the efforts Rukia and Alice put and the team, then there are no people. So I want to sincerely appreciate, with a lot of honesty, the participation of Alice and the other team, anybody who have played their role, this man from Nippon, and I went to Japan to find out why they are so successful. And I found one thing. Japanese don't give up. Japanese are small in body, but big in spirit. They don't believe in giving up. So they will try one thing, try it again. And if you call Japanese to run, let me tell you something very interesting. If you call Japanese to run, even if there is nothing you are teaching them, they all crowd there. Because they want to know what is this that you want to teach them. So let us also develop a teachable culture if you want to learn, because some people have experiences that you have not been exposed to, and it's good that you exploit any information that you can get. Lastly, I want to thank the students. Before I finish the last one, I want to thank the students. It's good to be interested. Be interested. Develop a sense of curiosity. Because when you interact with older people, like you have interacted here, they will teach you a few things that can open up your mind so that your curiosity can be converted to a product. To the organizers of this meeting, A special mention for the DVC, Dr. Alice Juguna and Dr. Rukia, for very great effort. I note with satisfaction that you put in a lot of hours. The MC, you know, actually we should be calling it the Zetech smile. And I hope it will not be just Safaricom. One of the things we want to change this university about is about our attitude to customers. And you cannot have attitude of customers to your customers when you don't smile to them. So I always tell the directors of first impression, you know who they are? The directors of first impression are the people at the gate and the reception. I always tell them the human being is more important than what you are doing. So learn to appreciate other human beings, greet them nicely, smile to them, welcome them, and then they will be better people when you interact with them. So the lessons I have learned in this is that it is important that people smile, people talk to each other, people appreciate each other. And I think when we appreciate other people, I have been married for 32 years. I'm going to my third year. People, they have space for you. When people know that you love them, they also reciprocate. Good attracts good, evil attracts evil, and therefore let us fight against anything that can destroy our university. It is our hope that this will become either biannual. I don't know, Alice, what is this going to be, a biannual, or is it going to be a quarter annual? Is it going to be every 5 years? It will be annual. If it will be annual, I wish you well, and wish that the next meeting will be a better place. For those who come from outside Zetech, you can see we have good facilities, although we got a little challenge this morning because of water. We can assure you that's why I was on the roof to find out why the water was coming into the house and not getting away. So we'll fix those small things, but we want to welcome you for the next conference and wish and pray that by that time you come and tell me that I went to Kipi and I innovated this and it is already being registered. It is my view that the different stakeholders that play a role in registering patents will be busy because of what you have done. Let us innovate. Let us make money from our thinking. And with that, I want to declare the conference closed, but the interactions to continue. Thank you.
Let's appreciate our VC one more time. Thank you very much. I'm so excited at this Zetech smile. It is making me get goosebumps. I'm just excited. Right now, I would like us to welcome Mr. Abduba, who's going to give a vote of thanks. Appreciate him as he comes. This is none other than the husband to Dr. Rukia. Please, you can do better than that. Give honor to whom honor is due. So you can see behind every successful man, there is a woman. And in front of every successful woman, there is a man.
Thank you, the MC. I think I have a very easy job, part of which the VC has already done by saying thank you to all of you and wishing all of you well. But because we have to recognize the efforts of everyone here, I think I will do what I'm supposed to do, not watering